In this video, we want to talk about a very ferocious animal. The hippo, or the long name hippopotamus. Hippopotamus is an ancient Greek word that means a horse that lives in a river, and that's why in different languages it's also called a seahorse. And that name makes a lot of sense because it's a very large mammal that mainly lives in the water. You can only find hippos in Africa, and this is the accurate map of where they live. And pretty much underneath the Sahara, you could find hippos all the way to South Africa. Most animals in different parts of the world, especially Africa, look different depending on where they live. But the interesting part is that hippos all look the same throughout the continent. When you look at this animal from afar, you think it's actually a very friendly looking animal that's very calm. But you might not believe it. Hippos are one of the most dangerous animals in the world. And if you ever see one in the wild, it's better to run the other way. Just like we said, this animal doesn't have horns or weapons on the outside of its body, but it has two giant daggers in its mouth that could puncture anything it comes close to. These daggers get massive too, and they could be as long as 50 centimeters. And to make these daggers more usable, it could open its mouth up to 150 degrees. So the size of the opponent does not matter. Of course, you guys know crocodiles live in the water just like hippopotamus. And in many places, they live very close to each other, but they do their very best to avoid each other. But the insane part is that if these two animals start fighting with one another, the hippo's jaw is so powerful that it could literally cut a crocodile in half. And that's why crocodiles aren't a fan of being next to these ferocious animals. Even though hippos are powerful predators, they are still herbivores and they only want to eat grass. It's just feisty and powerful to keep its territory, not to hunt and kill. People don't truly realize how large hippos are. It is the third largest land mammal in the world. First place, it's elephant. In second place, we have the rhinoceros. And in third place, we have the hippopotamus. The animal could weigh up to 1.5 tons, and that's the same size of a medium car. If you remember, we said if you're close to a hippo, the best way is to run the other way. Even though this animal is extremely fat and heavy, it could move very fast. So if there's a person in water or on land and they want to escape, there is no escaping because the hippo is guaranteed to catch up to you. Even though the hippo's hand is very small, it has paddles between the fingers, and that could allow it to swim faster. In the water, it could go as fast as 16 kilometers an hour. And don't get me started on land, because it could go as fast as 35 kilometers an hour. You might be passing by a hippo, and the hippo gives you a look, and you think it's not that dangerous, it's just a hippo. It looks very calm and nice. But the thing is, hippos attack all of a sudden, and that means escaping is very difficult. It has happened plenty of times where a hippo has attacked a human that they underestimated and pretty much got destroyed and killed. So that's why when tourists go to look at hippos in Africa, they're usually in faster boats and faster cars. They're not just walking around in front of these animals. For example, a group of lions or a group of African wild dogs, if they see a group of tourists going around, they are not gonna approach the humans because they know how dangerous they are. But the hippopotamus does not care. Even though if there's 10 of them and he's one, he's still going to attack the people. Even though the hippo is pretty much like a horse in the water, it does not eat fish. It is still a herbivore. And it's cool because it eats the plants at the bottom of rivers as well. It could hold its breath for 5 minutes and feast down there in safety. The hippo has evolved in a way where it could be completely in water, but its nose and eyes and ears are outside. You might say, why doesn't it stay outside? Because the hippopotamus easily overheats. If it stays outside, especially on a hot day in the summer, its body gets extremely hot, and that also makes its skin very dry. And when it gets dry, it starts to crack and start bleeding. So it's very important for them to stay cool in the water so that does not happen. Another thing the hippos love the water is that they're extremely safe in there. They know no other predator or animal is going to harm them because they're the king of that territory. Even crocodiles do not mess with them, let alone other animals. But if it's all alone outside the water, there's a chance for a predator like a lion to attack it. But it's not like the hippo is gonna give up easily. There's a chance that the hippo will kill a few of those lions in the process of being hunted. This animal has an extremely thick skin, 5 centimeters thick. And the bad part about this skin is that if it's not in water, it dries very quickly and starts cracking. Before the skin starts cracking though, there is this special liquid that's like sweat and it's pink in color. And that prevents this thick skin from drying out. And that's why hippos have a hint of pink to them. Hippos are very social and they're always living together. It's very rare you find them by themselves. It could be between 10 to 80 hippos in a group. These hippos are usually family and close friends, and they stay together to the very end. Just like most animals, the hippo is the friend of nature as well. These guys live in the water, and usually when they want to eat is when the sun goes down, so they can stay in the cooler temperature and start feasting away on different grasslands. After the animal gets full, it goes back into the water, and that's where the bowel movement takes place. The bowel movement is kind of like fertilizer for that water, even though it might sound disgusting, but it's actually very nutritious for that water and the creatures living inside it. So that's why the hippopotamus living in an area, it's very important for its ecosystem. Unfortunately, it's not looking very good for hippos, because nowadays all these countries are developing and they're building dams left and right. And that means less water is getting to the area these hippopotamuses are living at. And for a hippo to live without water, that means that animal is going to die very soon. When you look at the hippo, you see no horns or tusks. And that's a good thing, so humans don't actually hunt them for their valuable things. But unfortunately, they are not that lucky, because the dagger-looking teeth is very valuable to some humans, and they actually hunt these animals just to pull these out. Another thing is that it's extremely illegal to hunt hippos, but these are mostly third world countries where not everything is regulated and controlled, so these guys are still being hunted left and right. Another interesting fact about hippos is that a whole lot of things stick to its skin. A whole lot of edible things like worms and other stuff. That's why when they get out and they dry off, a lot of birds sit on them and start feasting away. Not only do the birds feel safe on top of a hippo, but they get the food they want, and they also can rest because it's one of the safest places they can rest in that area. Also, the hippo loves the birds doing this because it's kind of like a back scratcher and a back massager. So in a way, they don't communicate with one another, but they enjoy each other's company. When the hippo goes back in the water, the birds get up, but underneath the water, there is still a species that loves to clean off the hippo, because there's a whole lot of fish that want to eat whatever is on the skin of the hippopotamus. Sometimes the hippo even opens its mouth where the fish can eat around its teeth. And since it feels good for the hippo and it cleans its mouth, it does not close its jaw. And just like the bird's cleaning off its skin, the hippo enjoys the fish's company. Right now, about 130,000 hippos live in the world, and that's a significant number. But as you know, a lot of them are losing their habitat because of dams. So this population is declining, unfortunately.